Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and interesting episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch, which dropped yesterday. I completely blanked on it. My days got thrown off because I had Monday off due to Martin Luther King Day. So I was sitting at home last night watching a movie, and it dawned on me, oh shit, it's Wednesday. There's a new episode of Bad Batch. Crap, but it was super late. So now I finally had a chance to watch it. I did. Now I'm going to give you my spoiler-filled review on it. So in case you're not caught up like I previously was, you do not want to keep watching or listening to this video, as I will be discussing spoilers, plot details, character stuff, all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. So, it wasn't a great episode, but it was entertaining for the most part. I got excited because I thought we were going to get back into pod racing, but I guess other forms of racing exist in the Star Wars universe, which includes riot racing, which is, I guess, what that particular form of racing was. What was cool about this episode is that we got some awesome voiceover talent from a few different actors. Ben Schwartz, who's best known as John Ralphio, who's the worst from Parks and Recreation, was the voice of the hotshot racing droid, Tasho. See, I'm already forgetting his name, but I knew that voice as soon as I heard him speak. I'm like, oh my God, they got Ben Schwartz to do this. How cool. And then I didn't recognize him right away, but the guy who was the leader of those little armed squad there, the guy who Sid apparently had a deal or a debt with, I was like, oh, that voice is familiar. Where do I know it from? And I'm looking it up later, and I'm like, oh my God, that was Ernie Hudson of Ghostbusters. How awesome is that? I'm like, oh, cool. Ernie Hudson now plays a character in Star Wars. Very cool. So, this episode had some cool characters with some great voiceover talent behind it. And it was interesting to see a story just centered around Omega, Wrecker, and Tech. Although Tech really got to get the spotlight in this one, because he's the one who ended up stepping in to race for the droid after he got wrecked and ended up winning, of course. Now, in a typical scenario like this, you think that a character like Ernie Hudson's character wouldn't honor their word or their agreement with the good guys. But it turns out he actually stops his men and says a deal is a deal and lets Sid go with the Bad Batch peacefully. And you can tell based on the way she kind of says thank you that she's actually touched that they went out of their way to help her and get her out of her jam. Even though Tech was a bit, practical about it. Like, yes, you do. When she said, I guess I owe you one. You could tell that there's a sense of loyalty there that they have to Sid, even though she may not necessarily feel the same way. I feel like she's starting to really warm up to these guys, although Ernie Hudson's character did warn the clones right before they left to watch their backs with her. And I like how, once again, there's this little detail where the one of the racers whom Tech beat starts to reach for his blaster, but Ernie Hudson's character stops him, grabs the blaster before anything can happen, because he seems to be staying true to his word and honoring his deal with them, which was Sid goes free if Tech won the race, and that's exactly what happened. I hope we see this character again, mostly because it'd be a great chance for Ernie Hudson to reprise this role. It doesn't necessarily, the story wouldn't happen to revolve around racing, but it would be cool to see this character again. And I feel like shady characters, or characters that are more gray than black or white, like instead of having shades of black and white, they have more shades of gray to them, like this character might have. It'd be interesting to see what other stories they could utilize him in, if they intend to use him again. He could have easily be a one-off character, and we may never see him again after this. And if not, that's okay too. I'm just grateful we got to hear Ernie Hudson's awesome voice in a pretty cool character in at least one episode. But we'll see what happens, right? Anything's possible. So I liked this episode just fine. Definitely wasn't my favorite so far, but it was okay. It was adequately entertaining. I didn't hate it or anything like that. It was pretty good. So I hope you guys liked it as much as I did, if not more so. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Star Wars The Bad Batch drops new episodes every Wednesday on Disney Plus. Check it out. It's fun. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.